Hi everybody! Today's video is a little bit different. It embodies a philosophical topic rather history. Today I want to talk about a concept of Eurasianism, which Russian leaders often use to explain domestic political processes and geopolitical environment. Eurasianism calls for Russian exceptionalism originated in deep history of cultural exchanges among people of Turkic, Slavic and Mongol. The concept fully emerged in 1920s after collapse of Russian Empire and positioned Russia as a Eurasian polity. The idea was developed by Russian intellectual elites who immigrated to Europe after February Revolution in 1917. The most influential Eurasianists were Trubetskoy and Savitsky. They were trying to determine Russian future, its place and role in world's development. They argued that Russian territory was expanded at the expense of Asia. Moscow Principality, not Kiev and Rus, united all Eurasia except in political and cultural legacy of Mongols. Thus, Russian people is a unique nation including European and Asian characteristics. Russian culture is not 100% European nor Asian, it's in the middle, and is connected to different cultures, but Asia is closer to Russia according to the philosophers. Russia is different from Germany and France, the foundation of which was national unity. The foundation of Russia is cultural unity. Eurasianism emerged from older ideas of Slavyanofilstvo, the philosophy in Russia that called for disruption of ties with Europe. Danilevsky said that the Slavic world is different from Roman-German world, and this difference is a reason for hostile relationship between Russia and Europe. In the same manner, Eurasianists called to free from fixation on Europe and build on the legacy of Chinggis Khan to create continent-spinning Russian Eurasian state. Eurasianists thought that due to cultural and civilization characteristics, Russia can never be a liberal democratic state. Its way is authoritarian regime in which it is governed by organized and disciplined group. This group controls and manages all sides of common person's life through ideology. Suppressed for decades in the Soviet Union, Eurasianism survived in the underground and burst into public awareness during Perestroika. A Soviet historian, Lev Gumilev, who spent 13 years in Soviet prisons, revived Eurasianism in the 1980s. He emphasized ethnic diversity as a driver of global history. Developing his ideas, Alexander Dugin brought Eurasianism into Russian policymaking and military. With the publication in 1997 of his 600-page textbook titled The Foundations of Geopolitics, Eurasianism moved to the center of strategists' minds. In his Eurasianism, a new opponent is no longer just Europe but the Western world led by the US. Eurasian geopolitics, Russian orthodoxy and traditional values, these goals shape Russia's self-image under Putin's leadership. Of course, a philosophy of exceptionalism is not unique only for Russia. Japan, US, Israel, and many others use exceptionalism, history, culture, and religion to justify its sovereignty and politics. But the difference between Russian and US exceptionalism is that Russia opposes itself to Europe, emphasizing the futility of friendly relationship. Although I studied both Gumilev's and Dugin's concepts in college, I'm still not completely persuaded that culture could be a decisive factor of geopolitics and domestic politics. In my opinion, Eurasianism was imposed top to bottom in order to justify domestic arrangements and international environment. So it became Russian reality. Let me know what you think in the comments on how well Eurasianism can explain Russia. Thank you for watching my videos and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!